moment. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's my pleasure to get together with you most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central. We talk about strategies, techniques, success stories, and we're here to support each of you. As I think you all are familiar, the ChapmanLoanProgram.org is kind of our one-stop shop for understanding most of what we do. It is a resource. We applied for a grant, we received a grant, and the premise was that small businesses needed help qualifying for funding. There's lots and lots of small business owners or prospective small business owners that want to need money. But the truth is that doesn't matter to lenders. It's, does the applicant qualify? Is the business fundable? And so often entrepreneurs do not have fundable businesses. And worse yet, they don't even know what it takes to have a fundable business to fix the problem. And that's where you and I come in, right? So you and I legally and ethically help individuals have fundable businesses. No magic, no mystery. We're very, very transparent on ChapmanLoanProgram.org. When participants enroll directly with us, we require them to go through a two-step process. The first step is to view a proposal by clicking here, and then the second step is to watch this video, and I'll start it and I'll stop it after we get past the commercial here. Let's go. And so what it does is it walks people through the 4 phases of the program so people understand, what do we do? How do we do it? When do we do it? What's the benefit that they receive each step, each phase along the way? So this is not a very effective landing page. A landing page typically is more simplified. It provides a place for the prospective participant to put in a base amount of information and then to be able to have follow-up. So you could argue, well, is this kind of what you would need? Yeah, this is a lot closer, but this is packaged in with everything else, including all these resources. So the point today is that we had announced about a month ago that we wanted to do more to help our distribution partners be successful. And we have all different types of distribution partners. Some are very sophisticated. Some of you are very sophisticated. Some of you are less experienced in business development and financial literacy. So the commitment that we made about a month ago, and we're rolling out live today, is to go ahead and provide landing pages for each of you. So you can call it a website if you want. I guess it is a website, but it's not as busy as this. It's essentially, I shared with you on a previous session, it's essentially a landing page that collects the prospect's information. What's great is that we've invested in a technology that not only will provide you a free landing page to drive your leads to, but it also allows us to build a campaign, a drip campaign, a drip text campaign, in fact, to the prospects after they have entered into the landing page. In other words, once they have, and again, this is not the landing page, but once they've put in their name, their email, their phone, then it will send them a confirmation. They respond yes, that they agree to receive text, and then it allows us to create multiple messages going to them over a period of time. So that's what we're offering, and the good news, it's free. So landing pages with a drip campaign, as it states here, effective immediately at no charge. So we're absorbing the cost. Well, why would we do that? Because it's not what we promised, right? You and I have a written agreement. If you're a distribution partner, and your agreement states what your commitments are and what our commitments are. And so it's a very fair deal. It's an opportunity for each of you to help people and make a lot of money as a distribution partner, as a branch office through the Opportunity Fund. We did not commit in writing to do this, but we are now willing to provide this to those of you that lack the infrastructure, because while you technically don't have to have a website or a landing page to be successful, it will help. It will help. So that's what we're offering. As far as the background, you still have to generate the lead. So let's not ignore the fact that we have to generate the lead somehow. Once you have the lead, then the question is, what's your call to action? And so let's kind of map out the process here. So a lead must, let's make it all capital, must be generated. And we'll talk a little bit about that. It's not our focus today. Some of the trainings that are in the certification curriculum talk about lead development. But regardless, we're going to have a lead, right? Because if we provide you a free landing page and you don't have anyone to direct there, what is accomplished? Nothing. Then we need a call to action. Well, what is it that you could ask a lead to do? You could ask them to go to your website. You could ask them to call you. You could ask them to text you. You could ask them to email you. You could provide them a link to schedule with you. But there's got to be some call to action once you've generated a lead. And so what we're offering to do to make it simple is direct them to your free landing page. So when you're doing your outreach, you don't know who these people are until they've entered your sales funnel, if you will. This will capture who they are, and it'll validate them because they're going to put in their name, their email, and their phone. It's going to text them an opt-in, and then they're going to have to type back yes, that they want to receive additional information. So it does validate, because I think we've all gone through experiences where we've had bad leads, right? People that really weren't who they said they were, or just not useful. So once we have the lead generated, which is your responsibility, right? You're a branch office. And so we can help in many aspects, but generating the lead is on you. Now, let's digress for a moment. One of the best strategies, I was talking to Faiz, who's on today. He was asking what are some of the best practices, and we've talked about everything from going out and teaching in-person workshops and getting referrals from loan brokers and accountants and banks, and you can buy leads. But one of the most successful models that we see now are those of you that are doing Facebook marketing. And we see the common is people are spending about $5. So it's not free. Facebook, it's a publicly traded company, but paying $5, you can generate leads through Facebook with very targeted focus on entrepreneurs of certain locations, certain ages, and so forth, even genders and other filters. I'm frankly not an expert on this, but if you were to ask me, what's the best way to generate leads if you don't have a system that's working, I would definitely recommend this. We have a number of you that are doing this, and I think it's safe to say most of you that are doing this are generating more than 100 leads a month. Not saying you're closing all the leads, that's too good to be true, but generating over 100 leads a month for next to nothing. So again, let's just break this apart. So this is on you. You either need to internally do it or outsource it if you want to buy leads, whatever you want, but you need to do number one. If you're not doing number one, we frankly don't need you, right? What value are you providing? No offense. What we'll do is give you a place for the call to action, the landing page. Now, the landing page is going to be simple, as I mentioned, and the reason is twofold. One of which you're going to say, oh, of course, and the other you're going to question. But there's two reasons the landing page is simple. The first of which is you just want to collect the least amount of information necessary to get the client in the funnel. Because the more you ask them, the less likely they are to fill it out. But the other is, it doesn't matter. Let me pull up the email. I have one branch, a new branch office that emailed me last night. Good person, so I'm not being critical of the person, but let me pull up the email. So this is what the branch said. Hi, Thomas. I need a one-on-one with you or an associate that can help me with my first deal I have on the table. And then he went on to tell me about all the attributes of the client. It doesn't matter. So if the client has good credit or bad credit, it doesn't matter. If the client has an established business or doesn't have a business yet, it doesn't matter. If they want a little bit of money or a lot of money, it doesn't matter. If they want to buy what they want to spend the money on, as long as it's legal, doesn't matter. So I think some of you're so smart and so compassionate, you get involved in the storyline. What we do is a structured process that works regardless of those variables. So we don't need to ask, well, what is your credit score? We don't care. We don't ask, how long have you been in business? We don't care. So, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter on the front end. Now, eventually, as we're building the funding plan, we get over to phase 4, those other variables matter. But for enrollment in the program, it doesn't matter. So the landing page is going to be simple. All right. So let's talk about the automation, we'll call it. So the first step is you direct a lead to your landing page, which obviously we need to give you the link. Understood. So then they'll need to opt in. So in other words, the system, to be legally compliant, is going to send them a text. Hey, Robert or Joseph or Susie, thank you for inquiring. Reply back yes to receive additional information. So they're going to have to opt in. So what that means is you will not want to go to your landing page and just dump a bunch of names and emails and phone numbers that you know of. That's not the intent. You need to direct your lead to the landing page. So you're going to have some way to, no, I'm sorry, not that one. You're going to have some way to generate leads. Maybe you already have leads, which is okay. But it's not the purpose of giving you a place to go put a bunch of people's information in, because what's going to happen, everyone that is inserted into your landing page is going to receive the opt-in text. And if they don't know what it is, they're not going to opt in. And in fact, that would be bad. We don't want to spam people, right? So be clear that you need to do this. So once they've opted in, then they'll receive a series of texts over time. So touching them, encouraging them, motivating them to move forward. One or more of those, including a link to your agreement. So here's where we start to get into where the rubber hits the road. If we're going to use this as a way for you to actually enroll people in a more passive fashion, where you don't necessarily have to talk to them first, we're going to need to provide them the ability to enroll. So if you're using DocuSign or Adobe or FormStack or JotForm, whatever you're using, we're going to need to have that link to build into your sequence. So each of you will have, frankly, a unique sequence or automation, because as long as the prospect has filled out your landing page, it's tracked to you. So we're good there. But that doesn't create an enrollment of a client relationship. It's actually when they agree to your terms and conditions. So if you don't have an agreement, then we're going to need to work out something different, because in an ideal sense, we would link to it. But I had one branch and he showed so much favor. He came aboard about a week and a half ago, and he told me he was going to be the top producer. And he had the inability to ever get his agreement into DocuSign or Adobe. He just couldn't do it. He lacked the intellect to do it. He said he'd have his quote unquote assistant do it. There's no fucking assistant, right? So he flamed out because he lacked that ability. So I'm not being critical of him. We don't want that to happen again. So if for whatever reason, not asking for an excuse, if you just can't pull together and create a DocuSign or an Adobe agreement, we'll work around that. But in an ideal sense, they'll come in through your landing page. They'll receive automation, drip text over time, additional information to motivate them, to educate them, to encourage them to move forward, resulting in an enrollment. So you might say, well, how will you know when they enrolled? Well, it's your agreement, right? So if you provided us your, let's just say your DocuSign link or your Adobe link, you're notified, not us, when they fill it out. So of course you'd be notified. What we don't want to do is become inundated with lots and lots of discussion of where's Joey, where's Susie, where's all my prospects. So we'll provide for free the landing page and the automation. We'll customize the automation to include your agreement, but that's the real conversion metric. Have they enrolled or not? And if they've enrolled, you'll know. Frankly, we won't even know. You'll know because the agreement's between you and them. That's the concept of the branch. So let's pause there for a moment. Who has questions, comments, concerns on this? It's fine if you already have a system that you're using that's working, stick with it. Some of you are at the far right end of the bell curve of competency and sophistication. Some of you aren't, and that's okay. This is a tool that should certainly equalize the playing field from those of you that have more competency in these areas than those that don't. All right, so then Gary's asking, what are the requirements? So that is a good place to go next. So to no surprise, this is for branches that are in good standing. What does that mean? Well, when each of you enrolled as a branch office, there were promises made. We made promises to you. You made promises to us. I'm sometimes amazed when I'll talk to a branch and they seem completely oblivious to what the deal is that we're under. So we need to make sure that you're in good standing. If you're not in good standing, we can fix it, right? So it's not saying, oh, you can never be successful. But the key is we're going to continue to provide more resources, tools, and support for those of you that are in good standing, but probably less for those of you that aren't. Because if you're not doing your part, why would we want to continue to put more time and money into your branch if you're not doing your part? So that's the first point. And so the second is schedule a call with us to discuss. Now, what do I mean by that? What is there to discuss? What was the first step in the process? You've got to have somewhere you're going to get leads, or we can go spend time and money to build your landing page with automation, but it's like crickets if there's not lead flow. So we want to hear from you. What is your plan to go generate leads? Because if we don't feel confident that you have a plan, then we're probably not ready to commit the time and money to go build this out for you until you do have a plan. Also, we want to make sure that you are in good standing. And if you're not in good standing, then we'll resolve it. We'll figure out a way to get you there. So it's not to remove anyone. We want all of you to have access to this tool and resource. But at some point, we need branches to do what they promised, right? And what's one of the promises that every one of you made? After 30 days, what are your production requirements? So let's go ahead and get some audience involvement here. So if you can type into the Q&A, the question and answer, it's like a text box of Zoom. How many deals per week did each of you promise to generate after a 30-day grace period? Marilyn got it right. Thank you, Marilyn. David, how many did you promise to enroll after a 30-day grace period per week? If you could type it in, David. Dr. Davis, how many did you, and Dr. Davis sent in 2 last night, by the way, but so I'm not harping on individuals that are not performing, but I just want confirmation, right? Do you understand what each of you promised to? So David says ocho, which is 8. No, it's 2 per week, 8 per month. Okay. Eric, how many did you promise to generate per week? Gary, how many did you promise to generate per week after a 30-day grace period? So that question's the same for all of you. We're all under the same agreement. So we don't want dabblers as branch offices. We have a license fee for the branch office. We've offered for every one of you, hey, we'll waive that license fee. You know what? Waive it perpetually. But after a 30-day grace period, you need to be active. And we've defined active as 2 per week because we don't want dabblers, right? If you want to be a dabbler, go find an affiliate program or something that's passive. This is much more intellectual. It's more involving. It's much more profitable. So this, I think, can help many of you be compliant because some of you have lacked the infrastructure with your branch. So it's okay if you're not in good standing, but we need to develop a plan to get in good standing. So don't think that you can't get a free landing page with a drip campaign if you're not in good standing now, but we definitely need to create a plan to get from where you're at to where you need to be. All right, so Larry's got a question, and it's a good one, and we're going to move to create some space, and he's asking a little bit of an advanced question. So Larry, I'm paraphrasing. If I get this wrong, let me know. But uses. So this could be used for the branch itself, which is probably what you inferred, but what he's hitting on is this can be used for a branch sales team. So what does that mean? Some of you are building a sales team, formally or informally. Some of you are calling them affiliates. Some of you are calling them agents. It varies how each of you are addressing this. But we can certainly provide this for every one of your sales team. So let's take Eric and Veronica. They're not on this morning, unfortunately. Different Eric than the Eric I mentioned earlier. But Eric and Veronica are on a push right now to bring on 500 agents, insurance agents that are part of their branch that are their sales team. So yes, we'll provide 500 landing pages, one for each of those sales team. So I think this is what Larry, tell me if I'm wrong, but essentially don't think of it as just what you could use for yourself. We probably should be thinking about growing a sales organization because the more people you have out generating leads, the more money your business is going to make, right? So think about when you go into a car dealership on a Saturday morning, right? Is it just you and the sales manager sitting there? Or is it when you walk in, do you see 10 to 12 salespeople all chomping at the bit to get a prospect? Right. There's usually lots of salespeople. So if you're running a successful sales organization for your branch, you probably want to have a sales team, and we can make this available for each member of your sales team. All right. So any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. So Gary's asking a good question, and he's correct. So the way that this automation works, since we're developing it paying for it and managing it, it doesn't give us the ability, it's a limitation, I guess, of the system. It will not notify you each time a lead has completed the form on your landing page. It doesn't have that capability, and we're trying to figure out if that can be resolved. But at this point, don't anticipate that reporting. The reporting that you'll get is when people have signed the agreement. So you'll get measurements of the back end of the process, but not of the front end. If you wanted a better measurement of the front end, you could do a bit of a modification where the leads are not directed to your landing page, but they're directed to you. You're on the phone with them, and then you put them in your landing page. But that's going to take time and energy on your part. And this is really meant to be more of a passive model. So just keep in mind, if you can go do this on your own and have all the reporting you want. But since we're doing this for hundreds, if not thousands of branch offices, it's not perfect in the sense that you're not going to get the notifications on the front end, not because we don't want you to have them, just because the system notifies us, not each of you. However, you will know, of course, when they've signed up because they're using your agreement. Sarah's bringing a point, and that's right. So if you don't have an agreement, we can still make this work. In a perfect world, we'd use your agreement, but that's where we're saying, let's schedule a call to discuss. And we should be scheduling weekly calls with all the branches anyway. So in summary, we want you to be successful. We want to do what we promised to do in our branch license agreement with you and with our clients. And we want to make sure that you're doing what you promised to do. If you're interested in this, we're ready to start implementing now. And essentially just schedule a call with us, which you should be doing anyway. We should be having weekly one-on-ones, and we can put this on the agenda and address. Even if you're not in good standing now, don't worry about that. We'll discuss it. We'll create a plan to get you compliant, and then you can qualify for this. Our goal, our clear goal, is for every branch to generate at least $100,000 of income in the month of May. I believe that that's very possible, especially if you would consider using Facebook marketing, which I'm not an expert in, and then driving them to your landing page. I do think that it's very reasonable that you could generate a deal a day on average, 30 a month, and others are doing it. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Bye.